So today, again, this is kind of part 2 of skill building, but then also the opportunity to ask questions for anybody who's been able to explore PowerPoint or something's not working for them, or they, got a little lost in the master slide side. I'll be here to answer questions live. So we're going to talk about how to save themes and then conference poster presentation and creation. My name's Amy. I'm with the Wyoming Institute for Disabilities. I am our Senior Program Manager in Community Training and Evaluation. And I love talking about digital accessibility and ways that we can use our tools to support us in effectively and efficiently creating our trainings. But then also how knowing these tools can result in and lead to accessible documents that hopefully aren't difficult to create, right? So again, a lot of what we're going to be doing is playing around in the master slide component. And just as a little bit of a short refresher, our master slides really are a way to create all these pre-formatted slide layouts and set the design for the entire presentation. That again gives us a really easy way to make changes without making changes to every single slide individually. And again, they control everything: color, themes, backgrounds, placement of logos, placements of placeholders. We're going to talk a little bit about that because I didn't get to it last time. Our spacing, our alignment. And once we change it on the back end, it impacts everything on the front side. So one thing I didn't get to talk about, so we're back there, we've created a slide that we really like. And so again, to get to master slides, you go to view and then slide master. And so say that I've built my slide master now, right? Back end side, and I have it all designed the way I wanted. I have my fonts at the size that I want them. I have it in the, I have my logos where I want them placed on the back end. So they're always back here and not on every individual slide manually. So I've done all of that. And I'm like, okay, I really like this. This is what I would like to use for the future. How many of you just like copy and paste an old, like literally like make a copy of an old presentation, then go in and then like delete a bunch of stuff? Hands. I see some head nodding, right? Like this is a thing that we do. It's actually such an easier way to do this, which is I've created this thing. I really like my theme. This is what I want to be using from here on out. Two things we can do to now use this in the future. One, I can save it as just a theme that should show up in my PowerPoints in the future as a theme that's custom that I've done, right? So when you go to design, it has all of the themes that PowerPoint has created, Microsoft has created for us. If you click the down arrow, you're going to see all of the Office kind of built-in themes. I can actually save current theme. And I'm just gonna save it as theme 1 for the moment. I'm gonna save it as AUCD wind. And so now under my custom, here's my wind 2026 theme, and here's my AUCD wind theme. So it just lives there. So in the future, when I open PowerPoint, I can just click this. All that information comes over for me. So instead of clicking these, I just have mine in there. The other way to do this is you can go to, and I have all the instructions here. You're going to go to File, and you can save it as a template, and then you open the template in the future. You go to File, you go to Save a Copy. And then when I go to save this, there's Office Theme. And I can actually save this as a PowerPoint Office theme. So then when I go to open a new PowerPoint, it's actually a template that opens for me. And this, again, just opens up as a blank PowerPoint with the theme already there and embedded. And that way, again, I'm not just copying an old presentation, deleting a bunch of slides, deleting a bunch of text. Again, you can do that, but this is just a little bit easier. And so you can do this save as theme. And I have all the instructions here. Save this template and then you can open it as a new template. So when you go to File, Open, you can actually, it's not going to let me do this because I am actively have a presentation open, so it won't let me. But if I were to open a new presentation, let's see if I can real quickly. There we go. It has like all of these here. I can scroll through and I can actually look for my theme, and it's going to pull it. Sorry, that's what I did. Okay, I went to more themes, and then I can go to custom, and it's going to custom office templates, and I can actually click this, and it's going to show up, right, the custom template that I've designed. So again, I just kind of have this for the future. So just some good things to note there that I didn't get to last week. Any questions about that? Okay. The last little thing I'm going to talk about before we get into creating posters through PowerPoint is placeholders. These are really important to just understand what they are, because this is how we're going to design our poster templates for the future. So with this, excuse me, with this on the slide master side, when we're creating slide designs for us internally for your presentation, there's this opportunity to increase or insert a placeholder. And so when we insert placeholders here, they're accessible, right? It can be kind of weird if we do it on the front end. If I create a new slide and then add a bunch of things to it, I can kind of mess a little bit with the accessibility. I can mess with the reading order. I can kind of mess with a lot of stuff. So again, I think I've like hammered home this point a lot, but slide masters really is like the way to go to make like big changes. So if and I'll show you this in a moment, but with these placeholders, you actually have a whole list of placeholders that you can add. And these, again, are accessible. You can click to add them, and you know that you have a placeholder because it's usually going to say, it's going to be framed in a dotted line, and it's going to say, like, click to add title, click to add text, right? And that's the prompt. So when you see those, when you create a new slide, those are actually these content placeholders. And the one at the very top, which just says content, is truly like a catch-all. So if you don't want that and you want to make a design where like there's a slide where maybe it's 2 columns and the column on the right is always a photo, we can create one that's just a picture and only that, and that's the only thing that can go there. But if we use content is a catch-all that gives you the opportunity to add any of these, which I've showed in this slide here. So this actually shows the placeholder options. Insert a table, insert a chart, smart art, insert icons, insert photos, insert images. And so I'm going to show you here, if I add a new slide, see all these it's a dotted line showing me that it is a content placeholder. I know because it also says click to add title, click to add text, and all of these little things here are kind of showing you the type of specific information I can add in to make it this way. So the other thing, when we go to slide masters, maybe again, I want to create a slide. So here's just like a blank one, right? And now I'm like, oh, okay, I really want to make it so I make a 2-column, and the image on the left is always a photo, and the image on the right can be whatever else I want. I can go into insert placeholder. And the first one, maybe I just want to be this picture fill. And I get to literally just put in here, all right, I want my picture to be about that size. And so now you see here, it just says insert picture fill, right? And it's only the image of the picture. Again, I know that it is a placeholder because it has this gray, white dotted line. And then say, okay, I really want this to be a 2-column, but on the right-hand side, I want it to just be whatever else I feel like. I'm going to do content. I'm going to build that out. And then here's my content. And again, as you see here, I have all those headings, and this is all related to what I've put in my parent, right? This parent component here. So, and then I can retitle this. So I can rename this layout, and this layout's going to be called 2-column picture and text, right? So in the future, if I know that I really want to bring this in, I can right click, add a new slide, and choose my layout here. So here's let's see where it's at, 2-column pics plus text. Or the other way I can do that is to insert slide and then choose it from here, 2-column pics plus text. So the only thing that will go here is a photo. And then this can be whatever else I'd like to add. Okay, so this is going to be very, very helpful for the next step, which is creating our custom posters. So in custom posters, I'm going to bring up another PowerPoint presentation and I'm going to show you how to go through this. But first, I just want to show you these are the steps we're going to take, and then I'm going to walk you through the steps. So again, this all happens in Slide Master. And again, you can then save this as a template for the future. And I'm going to show you what I've done for our organization, which is creating multiple types and design styles of posters so that all of our posters have some flexibility in them. But we're going to go to Slide Master. And then we're going to click slide size, and we're going to create a custom presentation size. Most conference presentations are 56 by 42 or 54 by 42, but some conferences might have very specific poster size expectations. So if that's the case, then you come in here and you're just going to adjust your poster size. And that's going to be what you'll use. We want the slide to be in landscape, most likely, unless you're making a vertical poster, but I don't see those very often. And so this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to minimize this presentation. I'm going to bring up this one. And I think everyone can see this one that says for instructions only. Yeah, okay. So my very first one, and I've actually, this is actually what I've designed for our internal team. And I actually have instructions in the beginning so people know what to do. But this is for us, do this first, which again is this component of creating a set width and height. And then what I've done is I actually created an instructions slide, master slide, that I've put in here so that anytime any one of my colleagues is creating a poster, they know what they need to do and the steps to do it. And then I've also incorporated some print both poster best practices. So here, some of you might ask, okay, well, what's a font? I have found that 36 point font is the smallest that I use in a poster. Again, one of the really important things, if you change that setting to auto adjust format, I always do this, especially when I'm sharing this poster template with my colleagues, because it ensures that they never go below 36, right? And so again, that's going to file, options. Now I have to remember where to go. Options, general. Oh man, this is why I have instructions, because I do this once and always forget. Autocorrect options, so proofing, autocorrect options. And again, I unclick auto fit title text to placeholder and unclick auto fit body text to placeholder, because I want to make sure that my text always stays at 36 or larger. And so we've just provided some best practices, right, to remind my colleagues we don't use italics, bold, or underlines, really, how to navigate spacing. And this way, again, if we turn this into a PDF, it will be accessible, right? Okay, so let's actually talk about this. So we're going to go to View, Slide Master. And the first thing, again, I'm going to do in here is go to Slide Size, Custom Slide Size. And then under Slide Size 4, I'm going to come all the way down to Custom. And then again, I have my width set to 56 inches. It could also, I think, be 54, and my height to 42 inches. And so this is the very first thing I do and make sure that it's landscape. And then I press OK. So that's step one. So I do something a little bit different here because I want instructions. And actually, now that I know better than I did even before, oh, hide background graphics. Okay. What I can do is I can make a bunch of changes here. So for my instructions, this you're going to see is 156 point font right now, because I need it to show up on the other side. So if I were to turn this into 36, I just want you to see what happens. Look how small it is. And it's really small because I've made the size of my PowerPoint huge, right? And so like this is going to look very tiny, and that's true. But when it prints, it's going to print at the appropriate size. But this is not going to work for my instructions on my slide that I just put in the beginning. And again, I know that I want this slide to be different. So under my slide master, I did this hide background graphics, which means I want the slide to function independently of my parent. I want my parent to work different. So on my parent, if I know that this is going to kind of be that placeholder for me, I'm going to change all of my fonts, right? So I know here that I want my font maybe to be 36. I've made it so that everything is 36. But I could change that. I could say I want these two levels to be 36. I don't want a fourth and fifth level because in a poster, I probably don't need fourth, fifth, sixth level bullet points, right? We tend not to use those. And then for my core text, I want it to be larger than 36. So maybe I'll start at 36 and then go up. So again, this looks so small, but that's again because the size of this is really large. And I don't like the spacing that's happening here. So I want to fix my spacing one by one. I just want my words and the word to the bullet to be closer together. And maybe I don't like how much space there is even between the bullets. So I can take this and I can actually adjust it. Maybe I want it to be more like that. And this one I want to be more like, I don't know, that. Okay, so here I have this. Now that I've made this standard, it should happen everywhere here, right? So, oh, so I'm going to show you how to design a new one. To start, though, I'm going to just kind of show you the way that I've designed these so you can kind of see what I've been talking about in terms of some flexibility and creating some templates. So here I have it. I have my headings, I have my content, and then I have all of our logos. And so this is going to be a very specific Echo, right? We do a lot of work in Echo. And so if I look at the rename, this is called Echo 1 template. So it has my Echo logo on it, has our Wind logo, both of our Wind logos. I also created space for a QR code in case I want to use a QR to a website or to an article or to, I don't know, like a report that we've created. And then I have this with the blue, this large blue back. I've created a different one that's also Echo, but a different Echo logo. With a little, like kind of the same design, but just a little bit of different visual inspection, right? So here I have just the right-hand side has this blue background border to it. I'm using a different Echo logo. So again, I'm giving my team members flexibility in what design they like. I also just created some that are just for Wind, kind of same thing. So this has the blue background in the center, one on the right-hand side. I created one that didn't have any, right? I just didn't add any background color to it. And then I also created some, same thing here, just like a little bit of a different setup, but this has a 3-column instead of a 2-column, right? So this is 2 columns, like 2, 2, and 2 in terms of every row. Here I have a 3, 2, 3 if people need more space or need a different design. At one point, we were doing a lot of work around this project called Project Scope, and it had a lot of it had its own color theme, right? And it had a lot of logos that I had to include. And so I just created this and again gave us 2 options, one that was a 3-column, one that was a 2-column. So I just want you to see, we're going to build one together so you can see what it looks like to build something. But I just wanted you to see in general, like, oh, this is how I'm creating them for my whole kind of like all of my colleagues so that they have choice and that our presentations don't always have to like all of our posters don't have to look identical. So for this, I'm going to insert a layout. So here it is. This is, again, nope. Not sure why that is not bringing over. Whoa, sorry. Something's not working and I'm not sure why. That's okay though. Actually, this is okay because we need to build it from scratch. So this is great. Some things I'm going to change, right? So I'm going to rename this. I'm just going to just start it first with renaming my layout. And I'm going to call it AUCD template. Okay, so I know this is huge and I don't need it to be this big. but I do need a title, and typically my title needs to be up. And knowing that my lowest is 36, I'm going to maybe start with a 60. I want it to be bold. I want it to take up a little more space because it's probably going to be a little longer. So this is for my title. I can literally just copy and paste this, and then I'm going to have this being for my authors. And maybe I want my authors not to be bold, and maybe I want them to be, I don't know, 48 instead of something larger, right? So, okay, I have this. I got a good start. Now, again, I know depending on how you design your posters, I'm probably going to want at least 3 columns of content. So I go to master slide. Oh, this is where I was. Sorry, all. I don't know why my brain was being so funny, but that's okay. I'm going to insert a placeholder. And again, I probably am just going to put in content, so I have a lot of flexibility of what I'm adding where. But if you want to really control how these posters might set up, and you're like, nope, I know I'm going to want a graph, and that graph needs to be on the far right side and needs to take up the first quarter, you can do that. But I'm going to start with some content. And so I'm going to create, maybe the very top thing I want is I want the content to go across that's going to be like my description of the whole project. Okay. So there it is. There's my content. Ooh, why am I have a 4th and 5th level? And so this is going to say click to edit master text styles. Okay. But say for this, I really don't want any bullets in this. I only want it to be paragraph style. I can just get rid of the 2 bullets and just only give people this option. So that's going to be, and I can even edit how I wanted to say. Say I can say click to add project description. And then again, we know a lot of content. I'm probably going to want something here that's going to be a header. Don't know why that's not connecting. But I'm going to say, and I know I don't want it to be a bullet, so I'm going to get rid of my bullet, and I'm going to say click to add header, and I want this to be centered. I want it to be align text middle, and I want it to be centered. And I want my headers to be bold, and I really love the color, like our blue color for WIN's logo. Now you can't see it here, but that's what it is, right? Or if I know that this doesn't need to be anything but text, I actually can do that instead. And I can insert, sorry, master slide, insert placeholder, and I just want it to be text because there should be nothing else that goes here but text, right? And so I can change that and be like, okay, instead, I'm going to get rid of all these bullets, and I just want it to be click to edit header heading. Once again, I'm going to double check some things. So I'm at 40. I'm fine with that. I don't want it to be a bullet. I want it to be text aligned middle and center. And I want it to be bold. And maybe I want this to be outlined. So maybe I want my headers to stand out a little bit, and I want it to be like an outline. So I can do that too with shape format and shape outline. And I'm going to make it yellow for UW brown and gold. So I have this gold color. So next is going to be a full content. Oh, and what's really great is you can copy and paste this. So I know that I'm going to want this header a few different places. So maybe I want this to be a 2 column. I want something in the center, and then I'm going to want a 3 column on the other side. I can just copy and paste, right? I don't have to do this every single time. And I'm just going to fix my reading order at the end. I also know that I don't want any of this stuff down here, so I'm going to remove it. So now I'm creating this poster that is 3 columns, and the first column is 2 rows. The center is going to be 1 that I might add a place for maybe a graph, and then underneath the description for that graph. And then my right-hand column is going to have 3 rows to it. So here's my header, all done. Good to go. So I now want to add in my text. And so I'm creating my text space. So I want it to be about that long. I'm going to keep this information. I think this is fine. And again, once I like this, I can just copy and paste it. and move it to where I want. Oops, sorry, everybody. I know I'm going to need some space for a logo, so I'm going to maybe move that. I know that in the center one, when I design this, am I centered? That's better. I'm going to really want to have a chart. And so I know that this needs to be a chart. So that's only an option for a chart. And then I also want to add just this, the opportunity for anybody to add any additional information that they want. I don't know why that's not. Oh. Hmm. Okay, so I have that. And then again, I really liked the way I had this set up. So I'm just going to bring it here. Again, I'm going to fix my reading order at the very end. I just want to get my design that I like first. And then maybe at the very bottom, I don't know, I want to put in a shape that's a color. I can do that. I'm just going to add in a shape. I'm going to bring this here. This already has some auto color. So again, because I'm Wyoming, I really want this to be brown and gold, or maybe because we're doing something with AUCD, I actually want it to be like a lighter blue. I can kind of adjust that. I'm going to pull up my other PowerPoint real quickly to get the AUCD logo. So for this one, I'm going to add the AUCD logo. It's very small, but I'm going to make it larger. So there's my AUCD logo. I know my color contrast isn't right with this, so I'm going to fix that. And maybe I don't want this color anymore. Maybe I want it to be the gold for UW, but I want to include the AUCD logo. I would probably spend a lot more time on this, y'all, but I'm just kind of showing just kind of the step-by-step of how to do this. I want to make sure that I have a little space between my text, my lowest text box and this border color on the bottom so that I know there's space. And so if I really like this and this is all I need, I'm good to go. And I just need to go through and double check, right? So if you look here, I need to go through and check that these are going in the order that I want. So header, but then it goes to the next header, right? So I need to go from header to, I need to find this one. If I click on it, it'll show me on the right-hand side. This is placeholder 18. And so I really want to adjust this to go placeholder. I want it to go here, then here, then here. And so it's clicking. So I'm going to go through and clean this up to make sure that this is going to be read in order. There's 11. There's my chart. Oh, but I then want it to go here. I don't want a new, and again, if I click on the element, it's going to highlight in the right-hand side what that element is. And so I really want this to go header to chart to this and then come up to the next header. I don't want my rectangle to be read by a screen reader. And then this says image, and I'm going to again view alt text, and I'm going to say AUCD logo. And so here this is. And so now if I close out of master slides and I want to create this presentation, I can go to new slide, and there's my AUCD template right there under the poster themes. And I can click this, and here it is. And now I can go in and add my language, right? So I can start putting my headers, background, overview, results, next steps, partners, everything can be here. I showed you how to use um, how to add, right, some elements if you'd like to. And then again, I can't move these elements now that are on the back end. So I can't move this logo. And I can't move this, which sometimes is really nice because my design's set and then people can't mess with it too much. And and then they have that there. I know that was a really quick tutorial, but again, once you kind of understand the elements of Accessibility 101, and then you understand how to use Slide Masters, using Slide Master to create your posters becomes really easy. I know this looks very small here, but again, this is actually 40-point font. So when you're working on it, you just need to increase to actually see what it is you're typing and to edit. Again, turning on that feature to make it so that it doesn't auto correct size is really great because it also ensures, one, that your text stays at the font that you like, or that's accessible, and two, you are forced to really synthesize what you're trying to say. It just takes up more space than you realize. So that was super quick, but I think I got through everything. I'll pull up my other PowerPoint to make sure I'm not missing anything. No, that's it. It's just questions. What if there's any questions? I know we're kind of close to the hour, but if there's any questions, please ask now. I'm also available if you run into anything. I'm very open to like, let's hop on a 15-minute Zoom. Let's pull it up. Let's walk through it. In my email, I have a little thing that says book a time to meet with me that goes straight to my calendar and shows you all of my available time. And sometimes it's just a 15-minute quick chat. So that's what I got for us.
Thank you, Amy. Thanks so much.